Hi, my name is Michelle Burns, and we're here at the first annual International Contemporary Art Fair at the Grand Del Mar here in beautiful San Diego.
Now, there's all sorts of um, law that if it's been publicly displayed for so many years and a claim has not been made, um, but it's a new area of the law. But it isn't just Holocaust art or uh, anthropological findings. It is the whole area of people mired in a divorce, people who've hocked their collection, that sort of thing.
What do you find, Arthur, are there typical problems or mistakes? And I think we pretty much covered it, but what are the mistakes that collectors make outside of doing the investigative work? Is there anything in terms of negotiating, like the art of negotiating, that should really be important in that process?
Well, it isn't so much the art of negotiation as it is the relationship with the dealer. Should the dealer agree to repurchase the art from you in 3 years at your cost? Perfectly reasonable. Should What is a fair profit for the dealer to make? Is the dealer warranting the authenticity, which is different than the trail of ownership known as provenance? Is this really a work by the artist whose signature appears in the bottom of it? Should the dealer let you have the picture for 30 days so you can see if you really do love it as much every day as you did that first moment you saw it? Again, perfectly legitimate to ask.
Okay.
Should you ask the dealer, or should you condition your purchase? I'll buy this painting, but I also want you to get me the copyright for the painting from the artist. Now you can negotiate whether you pay for it or you expect the dealer to give compensation to the artist. But once you own the copyright as well as the object, then you can do whatever you want with the painting.
Okay.
You can use it in commercials, you can make Christmas cards out of it, you can use it in advertisements. It's yours then, but only if you own the copyright.
Very sound advice, and very much so not publicized to the art world, I think, for the most part.
The art world is not interested in the public being that well informed.
So the only way that people can learn about this is by attending special fairs that offer symposiums such as the one we had here today.
No, there's something called libraries and museums. And the museums are delighted to have contact with serious collectors. And the museum curators are can be very generous with their time. And the libraries are filled with books on art. And of course, we have that wonderful device and invention called Google. So there's really very little that you can't find out about a broad range of things.
So do your research.
If you really love what you're doing, yes. And the more research you do on a piece of art, the greater pleasure that art will give you.
Very good point. Very, very true. Now, moving away from art just a little bit, I'd like to talk about your new and upcoming book that you have coming out called Troubled Companies.
Oh, well, you have done your research.
Oh.
Well, Troubled Companies is not going to happen.
Okay.
And it's too bad, because as a security analyst and as an investment banker, which is what I really am, I believe there are telltale signs which indicate when a company is getting into trouble. The publishers, however, were unimpressed with the need for this book and said to me, why don't you do a book, and I've done 6 or 7 books, why don't you do a book, author, on turning around troubled companies? And my answer was, most of them can't be turned around, and there's not a book in it. So troubled companies is not going to happen as a book. I think it's too bad, because I think that the investing public would save some money. But it's not a book that I choose to self-publish.
Got it.
I mean, there are books that, I feel differently about, but it just seemed to me that so many of us who are in investment banking do see repetitively companies with the same problems and the same indicia of potential failure.
Right.
But the publishers didn't see a big book in it, so.
I have to say that's too bad. I was able to see your outline, and I thought it was phenomenal in terms of assisting companies, not only in the business side, maybe even in the non-business and the relationships and the many stories that you have to offer throughout your experience that could really help companies kind of pinpoint decision points and where they went wrong.
Where they went wrong is usually in the same place. It's where they allowed the wish to become the parent of the thought.
Oh, that's an interesting.
Where they assumed that what they wanted to happen was going to happen. And it's more than just